Hello, everyone, and welcome to Megahaulin, a podcast based on the Wise Wizard games Star Realms. My name is Dustin, and I am your host. Friends, you might be a little bit surprised if you just happen to get a notification that Megahaulin has gone live, but it is not a myth. We are back and we are live here on YouTube, and it's great to be back with you guys. This is episode number 122, recorded on September 2nd, and it's been just a little bit, there's a lot of life that goes on in the summer. We like to take a little bit of a break, and of course, we like to suffer baseball, and I can think of no one that I would like to suffer baseball shenanigans with than my frequent co-host, Rick Darklighter DeMille. Rick, welcome back to Megahaulin.
Thank you. Excited to be here, Dustin, as usual. Although I haven't been doing baseball suffering this summer.
Well, the Giants lost 15 in a row and tied, I think, a record that they set as a team back in 1901 with 15 home losses. And you know what made it worse was the fact that they sold out every one of those home losses. They got Rafi Devers, and everybody's like, Devers is here, everything's going to go great. Well, that was not to be the case, unfortunately. So long story short, the Giants season is basically over. Now they're playing for pride. Now I will say I was happy how they performed against the Cubs when they came to town, but Cubs are going to the playoffs at least.
Yeah. That hurt. That sweep hurt.
Well, yeah, we'll have to get you to come out here so you can poke fun at me and laugh in real time. Well, it's great to be back with everybody. Now, I've got a little bit of a history to start off here with, and actually trivia is what I really mean to say, Rick. And all right, now I have two questions for you, and they're related. I want to know what you think is the highest tier for total number of games played in Star Realms so far, and I want to see if you can guess which player actually has the most number of games. Let's start off with the first one. What do you think is the right range here for who's got the most? Who's got the most, Rick?
So I think I know who has the most. I'm pretty sure.
Well, then we're talking about who's got.
As far as how many they have.
That's right. That's what we're looking for. We're looking for a count. We're looking for a count, my friend.
I'm at 50,000, I would guess the person above me's at 70, 75. Would have been my guess.
Okay. Is that your final answer?
Well, can I guess who it is? I got it.
Well, let's.
You want to start there? Okay.
Yeah, we'll start with the first question.
That's my final answer. 75.
So you said 70. Now, I did this test independently, and in my mind, I thought the top number was going to be 60, 65.
Okay.
Now, the answer, Rick, is well in excess of 90,000 games, more than 20K higher than you, and probably almost 30K higher than me. 90,000 games. And that's a number as of June. So it's actually a couple months stale. It might be a couple thousand, maybe 5,000 more games at that rate. 90,000 games, Rick. Wow. Can you
believe that? Wow. No, but that's crazy. But I will say, based on Price is Right rules, I just won this game.
You did. But I also knew the number and was just honest about my number, I guess. But yes, you did win. You're going on to the next round. You get to play one of the mini games.
I get to spin the wheel.
What is your favorite? Well, no, you don't get to spin the wheel unless you win the mini game. So
that's right.
What's your favorite mini game from Price is Right?
Oh, what was my favorite? The mini golf one.
Nice.
Where they had the putt, the bunko or whatever it was. You drop the thing down and it
Plinko.
Plinko. That's what it was.
Yeah. Plinko's good. Plinko's really good. I liked the little yodeler guy who would climb the hill, and you had to stop him before he fell off the cliff.
Yes.
I like the music that they put. I always love that music, man. Actually, Price is Right. Very, very big inspiration to me as a game developer and game designer. I always thought about the Price is Right. Yeah, because it was literally a game of great mini games. I mean, There are some games that are a little better than others, but like the putt, the putt or the punch or guess the combination to the car. Like you think about like the wide range of mini games they had a lot of variety, and all of them were good. And they not only had to be fun to watch, they had to be fun to play, and you had to be able to teach people how to play them with just a few seconds of instruction and for them to play. Right, spinning the wheel was always cool. But that's a little bit more random. But I love that sound. Reminds me a little bit of like Wheel of Fortune. I think they might have lifted that sound effect and used it again on Wheel of Fortune. Well, the answer, Rick, as I said, is 90,000. Now, you said you think you had a good guess. Now, I get to go first on this one.
Okay.
I thought, Rick, that you were going to be the person with the most games. You're I guess I know the answer here. So you're not the only person I know with a lot of games, but you have a lot of games. I mean, how many games do you have on your docket so far?
A little over 50,000. 50,410.
50,410. And you've been playing since the Kickstarter beta?
No, I started I remember it was Gen Con 2014, so it was pretty quick after that. But Gen Con 2014, I entered a Star Realms tournament, and I found out about the app.
Okay.
So I immediately installed it and have been playing ever since. So 11 years.
11 years. Okay, that's a lot of value.
Oh, yeah.
That's a lot of value. We talk about that. Pennies per game at this point, right? Pennies per game. And lots of fun. Well, I thought it was you. Who do you think had the highest number of games?
Well, I know Tatiana has more games than me.
Okay. Tatiana
so I figured it was I think it's her or one of these people that are on the lifetime leaderboard, like Ionizer or Toyman. I don't know who they are, but maybe they've played a lot. They may have played more games than me. I don't know. But my first guess would have been Tatiana.
Tatiana? Well, Rick, drum roll, please. Blah, 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 blah. I don't have drum rolls. I don't have sound effects to play here, so you're stuck with my crappy sound effects. The answer is yes, Tatiana. Tatiana reached out to me and after our last cast and said, "Hey, I heard you guys were talking about players with lots of games," and I was like, "Yeah, Rick's got a lot of games, doesn't he?" And back and forth, I learned that Tatiana has played a lot. So that was at the end of May. I haven't refreshed that number, but 90K in May means it's probably, like we said, 95, probably not 100,000 games, but closing in soon. Can you believe that? It's just insane.
Wow. And next year she'll probably have me doubled.
This is why when I play dodgeball or I play in anything and Tatiana's there, I just get spanked because clearly the more you play, the more situations you see, the more randomness you manage, the better you get at just dealing with those circumstances and seeing them. Sometimes you see a lot more situations. So yeah, I believe I tend to get spanked when I play against Tatiana. So if you're watching Tatiana or if you watch the replay, we're giving you your props. We're giving you your flowers. Congratulations on having the highest game count in Star Realms so far. But, there's probably some people hot on their heels. Oh, I did have a third bonus question. All right. Are you ready for this?
All right.
Now, you know how many games you have. You know how many games Tatiana has. How far back do you think the person in second place is from Tatiana? Like, is it neck and neck, or is there a constant daily battle back and forth between first and second? Or is it a bigger delta? What do you think the delta is?
So it's not me. I'm not in second.
It's not you. It's not you.
Okay, so it's going to be more than me. I'm sure I'm not second.
Right.
So I would guess I'm going to guess the next place is what I guessed for first place, 70,000.
Bullseye. Yeah. Well, at least. Well, so Tatiana, and again, I'm sourcing this from Tatiana directly, and I believe her. I have no reason to not believe her. The second place person at that time was 20,000 games behind her mark of 90K, which it feels like she could stop playing for a couple of years and probably still be in first place.
And we don't know who that is. We just know the number.
No. We weren't interested in that. The second place is first loser, right?
I'm probably like 10th loser then,
Oh, well,
there's got to be a few people in between 7. I'm a winner.
You're a podcast co-host. That makes you a winner, regardless of how many games, regardless of what your win percentage is. You're a winner just because we said so.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Well,
Agreed.
a lot has been going on in the Star Realms world since our last episode. A couple of legend winners. We're just going to nod and say congratulations, legend winners. We didn't have a cast, and we need to. What we should probably do, Rick, is have a panel with like a bunch of previous legend winners and just have them come in and give an interview. My feeling, though, after having been to a few of these events and seen people, there tend to be some pretty good stories about one or two really good stories, but they also can be a little anticlimactic. You in a game of randomness, you don't know if, just like baseball, right? There's a reason this baseball season is so long, is because the top teams emerge over a large sample size of games. It's just like why Homer Jr.'s baseball league was always a really great one versus, short run, like the BGG leagues. There's a smaller sample size. And so you could get lucky. You're unlikely to get lucky against top players again and again and again, but the true trends emerge over large sample sizes. So it would be interesting to hear people's perspectives about how they felt. Did they feel that I don't want to say got lucky, because that downplays the skill involved in the game, but how did they feel that they just happened to have everything fall into their lap? Now you have taken one of these titles, and I'm kind of curious, just from your perspective, did you feel like there were any critical decisions that you had to make that resulted in you getting a legend win, or did you feel that one or more of the games just sort of everything went your way and the opposite for your opponent?
There were some critical decisions. I remember it like it was yesterday, Dustin.
Because it was yesterday, right?
I wish. No. So I faced Alex Silent Al in the finals of a Hero Realms Legends, a match that took like an hour and a half or 2 hours. I don't know. It took forever. It was a battle, but it was best of 3. He was fighter. I was ranger, and he won the first one. And I could tell what he was doing. We're Star Realms, but Hero Realms is pretty close. So
very similar. Yes.
The fighter has the ability where you pay 2 coins and you get 2 damage, and he was using that every turn. And he was just waiting to use his. And then the fighter also has like a gambit type ability, a one-time use where it's just 10 straight damage. So he was just straight aggro and using the 2 damage for 2 coins every turn. And he was just waiting to use that 10 damage gambit for the finishing blow. And he did. He beat me in round 1. And so in round 2, I was like, okay, my 2 goals were, I had to make him use that gambit on my terms. I had to make him use it prematurely. So, which meant I had to get champions or bases. I needed to build up a bunch of champions. And then I needed the high cost yellow cards, which are the equivalent of the blue cards in Star Realms, the ones that give a lot of healing.
Right.
I had to soak the damage he was doing. So so you would think you would go aggro straight off because he's going to go aggro, but I had to get the high cost yellows. So I actually went trade right off in the hopes that those yellow cards would flip and then I would be the one to get them. And so it was kind of like a shift that I made, those 2 things. And then there was luck because the yellow cards did flip for me and I got them. So I was able to heal a ton, countering all his damage. And I made him use his gambit, at least in one of the games. I can't remember, but I won the last 2. So, so he never used them for the finishing blow. But I made him, I know at least in this game too, I made him use the gambit earlier for the 10 damage. So he couldn't save it. And so those were some critical kind of adjustments I had to make to kind of adjust to how he was playing. Because he basically just steamrolled everyone going into the finals, and he steamrolled me in game 1. But there was still luck. If those yellow cards hadn't flipped, then my strategy wouldn't have worked.
Interesting. So in the context of like Magic, which we also often compare, like he had like a cheap goblin or a Kithkin. He was like a rush strategy
Yes. Yep.
or a burn deck, something along those lines, where he's just constantly ticking down putting you under the clock, and with that gambit or with that cantrip. What's the ability called? Like, it's been a while since I played Hero Realms, but do they have? It's like a cantrip type of ability. You can use it once per turn, right?
Yeah, that's the one for you pay 2 trade for 2 damage. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So he was able to just keep blasting 2 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage. Right. Yeah. Interesting. Well, okay. Well, that's really great context. I bet other Legend winners might have a similar story to tell, and maybe we'll get more folks on here. Now, folks who are watching this on YouTube, want to invite you guys to like and subscribe here to the Megahaulin channel. It's something we haven't used this channel all that often. Obviously, the most recent episodes we've been posting up here for folks, but to be honest, it's now going to be a little bit more fun here when we're doing this stuff live. We can invite guests, we can add people dynamically, and this software actually works perfectly to accommodate that sort of experience. So it's so if you've got any questions, you can always send them over to megahaulin@gmail.com. And we also want to make sure that you guys check out the Megahaulin blog, this is going to be a great transition, Rick, over to the Megahaulin blog. And, I don't know, maybe I should spend a little time here trying to improve or update the theme here. I don't know, maybe people like it a lot and would prefer that it just stayed the way that it is. But as a nice transition, well, actually, before I go there, this is where you can see all the episodes of our podcast. You can see lots of, if you're new here, here's the list of resources to get you started. Here's the card tier list. We're going to have a conversation about that a couple of times here coming up. If you're interested in online leagues, and you can see the different folks over time who have contributed here. Command Deck Strategies, Silent Al, we just talked about him. Your name should be on here a lot more. Here we are, R. DeMille, Homer Jr. Some of the best strategies for Star Realms have been contemplated by contributors to this site, and now it's captured here to be a resource for the community. So you can check out all of the strategy posts that we have here. It'd be interesting to come back and just revisit these. I know we've talked about this. I actually got a fan mail, Rick, that talked about having us go back and review some of the introductory strategies. We've talked about it again. And I think it would be great to do that for brand new players to the game, of which there's been a lot of new people joining in the Star Realms fan created community page over the last few months. A lot of new faces, a lot of new names. So might not be a bad idea to do a little bit of a reset here.
Yeah, great idea. It'll be fun.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to stop sharing there. And speaking of a recent blog post that went live today, Rick, you always surprise me. Rick always surprises me. He'll make changes and he'll post them, and I'll get the email update and I'll be like, "Ooh, what did he do?" And it's always something positive and awesome. Rick, you updated once again the as far as I'm concerned, best Star Realms card raider table in the game today. And do you want to talk a little bit, maybe even if you want to share the article, we can show people exactly what kinds of changes you made and understand a little bit more about the rationale behind that card tier list.
Yeah, let me this isn't the article. This is the actual app.
Okay.
That if you go to that article on Megahaulin, there's a link to an app I created. It's an app, in quotes. You can't download it in the App Store, but you can install it. If you open it on your phone, you can install it onto your, home screen, and it opens like an app, and it's formatted for your phone or your tablet. But this is the web version. So yes, I updated the card tier list for High Alert First Strike, which is the most recent set to hit the app, as far as to what do we call it, the production version or the
live version of the game?
Live public version. Yeah, the public version of the game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the last set to hit the public version. There's a bunch of sets in beta. This was in beta. But so now the list is completely up to date for everything that's in the app in the public version. So yeah, it was an interesting set. So if you're new to the list, basically I just take each card and I give it a ranking based on, let me show you about the list. So about the card tier list. Actually, let me show the tiers 1 through 4. So I rank each card tier 1 through 4, but at each stage of the game. So each card will get ranked at early game tier 1 through 4, mid game tier 1 through 4, and late game tier 1 through 4. And so a card that's tier 1 in the early game is basically a must buy. That's like your highest priority card to purchase. Tier 2 cards are pretty good. You know, there's some situational, but they're usually a good buy. It's a good card to buy in that stage of the game. Tier 3, it's pretty weak. There's probably situations when it makes sense. There's situations when it doesn't make sense. Often these cards don't help your deck. And then tier 4 is just, you probably don't want to buy that in that situation. And there were a few tier 4 ones in the High Alert First Strike set. I don't know if I was being too hard on the First Strike, but it was as it went through it was a bit underwhelming on the whole. I think there are 18 cards and only 3 or 4 got a tier 1 ranking at any stage. So, you know, that's less than 25%.
Well, that's appropriate, right?
I guess
there shouldn't be that many cards that are must buys in the. I mean, as the card library gets huge, of course, there's going to be.
Yeah.
But the percentage of cards that would probably rank as must buys, you know, there just can't be that many of them. Counterintuitive, I'd say.
And I think, I got to double check this, but I think one of the biggest flaws of this card tier app was that when you went to the format filter, I kind of had it set up so that basically when someone picked a set, it put the letter for that set in my spreadsheet, and then it would filter it, and then it would show that. So basically, if one person was looking at it, everyone else could only look at the same sets. Everyone using the app had to look at the same thing.
Got it.
But I think I fixed it. So I think if someone filters, maybe you can look at it on your phone if you have it. See
All
if
right. Of course I do.
So
I have it
I'm going to
on my home screen.
So I'm going to look at First Strike. It's filtered on the format filter. I'm curious if you can look at something different.
Yeah, 1 second. So you're looking at First Strike?
Yep.
Okay, I will look at. Do you want me to look at a different set or just look at any filter?
Different set.
Okay. I will look at Frontier promos. And I see them.
And it didn't change it on mine. So hallelujah.
Yay. Live debugging right here on the cast.
It's probably one of the most basic features you'd see in an app, but I finally got it to work after however long on this.
Great stuff.
Yeah, it was a bit of an underwhelming set. There's some good cards. I'll show the tier 1, the ones that had any tier 1 ranking. So Cargo Barge. Whoa, that's huge.
Yeah, but you're literally showing we're not just talking about cards here. Now we're actually have them on screen.
So Cargo Barge costs 3, Star Empire, 3 trade, allies to make you discard, and you can scrap it to draw. And it has the requisition ability, so you might get this for cheaper than 3. Mm-hmm. This is a pretty good deck 1 card. For 3 trade, you get 3, and you can scrap it for another draw. So you could potentially flip this into 4 trade in deck 2 to help you get one of those big bombs.
Yeah.
To early big bombs. So this is a pretty good early game card. The other tier 1 was Command Cruiser. I really like this card. Also Star Empire. Cost 6, 8 damage. Allies to draw. Double allies to draw.
Wow. This is a tier 1 for the early game or mid game?
So mid game. Okay. Well, I think it was for both. No, so I didn't rank anything over cost 5. I put NA from early game. I know with Gambits you can get higher cost cards, but in the normal game you won't get more than 5 trade in deck 1.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously if you can get a cost 7 card in deck 1, it wasn't worth ranking those early game because of course you're going to get those, right?
Got it.
But
well, let me think about that for a second. So is it fair for people who are thinking about this, if you're playing in one of those highly variant or accelerated formats where you might find yourself with more than 5 trade on turn 1, would any tier 1 card in the mid game also be considered tier 1 card in the early game?
Let's look. Mid game, tier 1. We can filter tier 1.
I love it.
Oh,
I know Rick loves being able to do this live and having it right here. No more talking about it. We're showing it.
But it's sorted by cost. So let's go to the higher cost. So, so mid game tier 1. Let's go above cost 5. So Blob Alpha. Maybe, probably. Peacekeeper definitely.
Yeah. Peacekeeper is a yes. Maybe
Plasma Vent, no. That's not a tier. That wouldn't be a deck 1 tier 1. Yeah. Reclamation Station, yeah. Central Office, oh boy, yeah.
Yeah.
Federation Battleship, Hive Queen.
Yeah.
So yeah, the answer's Arc. Okay, of course. Megahaulin, Imperial Palace. Well, what's this one?
Of that list, probably. If I had 7, I probably wouldn't be spending it on this. I mean, maybe it's a good cycler and it keeps your opponent off.
Maybe not.
Yeah,
it'd be a tier 2 early game. It's good.
So it's a good
Citadel definitely. Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's a good guideline, but you got to look case by case.
Yeah, that's still, and that's you should be doing that regardless. Like, my tier list is, I think, pretty good, but it's not scripture.
Yeah,
it's not. There's exceptions.
Okay, great. So then, bringing it back, as you look at these new cards, you said that you didn't feel that there was a particularly great set, but what was, or is the filter still on correctly here?
Oh no, let me go to the format filter. Oh yeah, this is first strike here.
Yeah.
Yep.
What cards prior to doing this rating did you actually, in your mind or maybe even in play, have rated higher than what turned out on the tier list?
Oh, well, so War Mech. Man, I wish I could make this smaller. Let me see if I can. Oh, I can. Here we go.
Yeah. Those, it just uses the default size. I think you probably are either linking these back to the Star Realms card glossary.
Yeah, I am.
And those cards that they have up there, they didn't resize them. They're for web. They just threw the full size up there. So yeah. But that's
War Mech. It's not so much when I started ranking it, but when I first saw this card, I was like, "Holy smokes! This card is amazing." 2 bases from your discard pile on top of your deck, and then maybe you'll be able to draw one of them. But in practice, when I play this card, I almost never have 2 bases in my discard pile. So it's just 10 damage, which is Blob Alpha. That's 6 cost. And maybe a draw, or maybe I have 1 base. So I'm rarely realizing the full value of this card. So I think I put this tier 2. Yeah, tier 2 mid game or late game.
But this has got requisition on it.
And it's got requisition, so you might get it for 6 or 5, and of course the value increases when you're buying it for cheaper.
Yeah.
But this card has great potential. But it's not, I would not buy this over a lot of the tier 1 cards.
Yeah.
Like the 8 cost tier 1s. So, because I've almost never actually, this is almost never really hit. And even when you do have bases, what if it's like the what is the trade colony, or what's that 3 cost blue base from the core set?
Yeah.
There's Barter World and something like, what about, that 3? What if it's 2 of those? Like, okay, like that's not a backbreaker move there.
Yeah.
It's something, but you're rarely putting like Brain World and Factory World on top of your deck in the same turn.
Or Reclamation Station and Brain World.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
What
So
a combo.
that one would be amazing.
Yeah.
If someone ever does that, send us a video.
Do you ever play the format Pauper in Magic?
No, I don't know that.
Pauper, for those not familiar, all the cards in Magic, you can have 60 cards, which includes your lands and all of your other cards, creatures, artifacts, spells, etc. And Pauper, you have to pick cards that the total sum of your deck adds up to like $2 or less. So it's like drafting, but you have a budget, and all the cards have to be less than $2. So it's all the cheap little cantripy, cheap creatures like uncommons. Like it's cards that most people don't want to play because they're not collectible or rare. And you would never use foils, because foils like bump the price up. You could get the same card for a penny, or you get it for a dime if you buy it as a foil. So you just get all cheap cards, and you have to build the best deck out of that. The inverse of that was actually what was coming to my mind. Since we have so many 6, 7, and 8 cost cards now across all these sets, it'd be interesting to just play with the 6, 7, and 8 cards. And you just do an explorer run until you can buy like the first 6, 7, or 8 card, and then that's it. The trade row is just the 6, 7, and 8 parts of the total row. All the other cards are banned or like excluded, and then it's just a big Donnybrook. It's like, who gets the big first, and what's your strategy to offset Brain World versus something else. So pretty interesting.
Right.
Could be a fun format.
That would be.
This is why we need to have. This is why we need to get everybody in the community back together again, Rick. I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember the game you were talking. Was that, well, actually, the game you were talking about playing for 2 hours of Silent Owl? That was at the White Wizard Game Fair, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
You guys all went to dinner.
We brought food back for you guys, right?
You did.
I remember that. So you guys, because your game just kept going forever. But these are the kind of formats we could try. I guess we could try them at Origin or Gen Con. I just keep missing those dates. Like those are not so much on my travel schedule recently, but maybe it'll work. Maybe we'll get something going. I'd love to try that mode or somebody else's favorite mode, or maybe you could do it reverse where you just play with the 1, 2s, and 3s. That could be a lot of fun.
I feel like there was an arena like that where it was all cheap cards. I can't remember, maybe, but I thought there was an arena like that once.
Interesting.
In the app.
Yeah. Well, I think that would be pretty cool. So any other thoughts you want to share here about the changes that you made to the updated tier list?
No, there were 2 tech cards added with First Strike. 2 new tech cards.
Oh, right.
Just point those out, and I put them both tier 4 early game. I can't imagine why you would buy this over 2 Explorers deck 1. This is a good card to have late game, but there's usually going to be something better to buy for 5.
You know what this thing is? I mean, you're right about this. I think the scoring on this is right. There's something about having an exact change in this game that feels like you're doing the right thing by not wasting any money. It's just it's not logical or rational or strategic. But if I had 5 left over and I was like, ooh, it's a thing and it's 5. Well, it wouldn't be 5 if it wasn't worth 5. And if I waste 5, I don't want to waste 5. I've got 5. I'll spend 5. And you end up with this thing hanging around all game and not doing much work for you. Or then you use it the one time, you pay 3. I mean, look, a different way to look at this card is pay 8 to draw a card.
Well, yeah, it's pay 8 the first time. Every other time after that, it's pay 3.
Right.
But I've bought some of these tech cards where you have to pay 3 to do the ability. I just hardly ever use it. I usually use in needing the trade for other things, unless it's like the last deck and you're not gonna be reshuffling, like it's the end.
Yeah.
So, and then the other one's even worse.
Yeah.
Where is it? missile launcher. I mean, again, unless it's the very end of the game, why? Well, that early game, you should be buying 2 explorers over
Yeah.
this. So do not buy this early game. Just don't. If
Well,
I could give it a tier 5, I'd give it tier 5.
Yeah. This is a different trick. It's a trap that the card art is so cool. You want to have that so you can keep looking at it.
It is cool. It is cool.
A lot of little traps that they put on us here. But yeah, well, very, very cool to see that. I think let's see where everybody can find this actually at megahaulin.com. If you check it out in the next day or so, this is actually the first new story on the podcast, or sorry, on the blog. The podcast is going to take that spot after we post it, but you can find the tier list. It's on the front page. It's linked. If you're new, you can find this pretty easily. And of course, Rick is the one who has maintained this. You always are very nice and generous to share that Homer Jr. was the one who took the first swing at this. But honestly, Rick, it's been years and years and years that you've been the one to add and extend to this. So I think it's nice that you give credit, but I think this is your list now.
Yeah. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Now we're all excited about Rick's list, but turns out that you're not alone, Rick, that you've got some competition. And we found another person. You actually I didn't see this. You were the one that brought it to me, and you said, "Hey, somebody over on the Discord published a different card ranking, which is interesting." I'll let you kind of get ready to pull that link up. But first of all, this was the official Wise Wizard Discord for Star Realms game. The Star Realms Discord channel.
No. It's not the official. It's the fan one, the Galactic Summit.
Alderaan's. Isn't that Alderaan's?
No. Who started this one?
Well,
it was not Alderaan. It was oh man, I forgot his name. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, Marauder Mo.
Yeah.
He's the one who started this one.
Yeah, it's got 816 members, and it's only for Star Realms. So they've got tournaments, they've got Hero Realms and stuff like that. There's some Res Arcana topics that they have in there. They got Star Market, people selling cards and stuff like that. So yeah, we'll put a link. Well, you know what? Actually, I should get Marauder Mo to put that in there if he wants more people showing up. I'm sure he doesn't mind. But yeah, I always think of Galactic Summit. And sorry, I know that I'm going to catch some grief from Marauder Mo, but I generally, in my mind, associate Alderaan with the Galactic Summit. So, and that's because I've interacted probably with him more than anybody else on there through DMs and things like that. So Marauder Mo, of course, it was you. And there's actually a Megahaulin channel where you have posted that updated card list. Somebody else has a card list, though. That's the most important thing. One, somebody within the Galactic Summit, which means that they're known in the community. Two, they either didn't know that there was a card list or didn't care. And three, they made a card list. And now we're going to talk a little bit about their determinations, Rick, and what they had to say and how that changes and is different from what you actually have posted.
Yeah. So here, let me share. I'll show what it looks like. Well, this isn't their official one. I actually copied and pasted so that I could, because I couldn't edit theirs. I've added like this column here. I'm doing my own analysis with what they've done.
Got it.
It's really interesting. But so most of this they did. So it's basically calculating this raw power is just how powerful the card is. And so if I sort by this, you'll probably see Arc at the top. Or no, Colossus. Okay, Colossus makes sense. There's Leviathan, there's Arc. And there's a bunch of stuff. They've already added all the stuff from Conquest and Rise of Empire.
Nice.
In here. And so raw power is just how powerful the card is. So obviously the higher cost ones are going to be more powerful. But what they did was they estimated, and their raw power, they've used damage as the currency or the baseline, and they've converted all of the different abilities a card does or has into damage. It's a damage equivalent, and then added
Okay.
that up.
Okay.
And so I
Okay.
don't know what their algorithm is. Looking at this list, it's clear that they've valued scrap very high, but that's okay. It's valuable. But so they convert everything into damage, and then they add that up, and that's the raw power. They have an estimated cost. So this estimated cost here, I don't know if this is.
That's probably the cost that the card should have based upon its raw power.
That's it.
Right.
That's what it should cost.
Right.
So ARC should be over 9.
Yeah.
According to this.
Yeah. Where's the cutter?
Where is the cutter?
To settle that old chestnut. Where's the cutter? Yeah, look at that. 3.66. Yeah, that sounds about right. 4 should cost 4, but it's a twofer. Get lost. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So that's interesting.
What I have looked at so far is this power surplus. Let me scroll back to the top here. Power surplus takes, well, what was it? Power surplus. This is their key here. Raw power minus expected power for a card at its cost. So it takes the raw power of a card, like a cost 7 card, and then it subtracts what you'd expect a cost 7 card to. It subtracts the power you'd expect a cost 7 card. So if it has a positive number, that means it's overpowered compared to its cost.
That makes
sense.
If
it has a negative number, and so I did some. Would you like to know the most powerful card in Star Realms according to this? I'll bet you can guess what it is, based on the power surplus. How much it's overpowered relative to its cost?
Probably the Arc or the Brain World.
Ooh, you're good. It is Arc.
Okay.
Brain World is the most powerful base.
Okay.
Arc is the most powerful ship. Would you like to guess what is the worst, the most underpowered, or no, overpowered, I guess would be, compared to its cost?
Meaning
it's a negative number. Like it's cost this, but it's based on its abilities. It should be cost like.
It's interesting. There's like so many cards that could be here.
Well, I'll give you a hint. You won't like the answer.
The Megahaulin?
No. Okay, that would have been bad.
That's on brand for the whole channel here, Rick. The blog and everything. Let me see. I won't like it.
It's cost 8. And it's a base.
Our cost 8 base Colony World?
Colony World, no.
Or sorry. Cost 8. What would it be? Oh, I know what it is. It's why am I forgetting the name of the base? The yellow base. The
yellow base from the core set.
The +1 damage per ship. Why can I forget?
What? Fleet HQ.
What's that?
Fleet HQ.
Yeah, Fleet HQ. So let's see it.
Okay, so I'll sort by lowest to highest. Okay, well, there's some that are from Rise of Empires. I kind of skipped all those, but you see core here.
That's fine.
Fleet HQ, Star Empire, -4.4.
There's several guys that are there. Yeah. So Fleet HQ.
So it should be
a lot less.
It should be a cost 4 based on its abilities. If this person's analysis right. Here's Warpgate Cruiser.
Yeah. I don't like that, but I don't like that ship at all. Every time I try to play that, it kind of messes me up. So this is cool.
It's pretty good. Like it's kind of matching. I don't know if some people like. I think it's pretty good. There are some aberrations. For example, the highest. What was it? That didn't make sense to me. The worst blob ship, the worst blob card, was Pulverizer. Pulverizer is that one from Frontiers that you scrap a card from the trade row and you get damage equal to its cost, and then it allies to draw. And I can't. that doesn't make sense to me. That would be the most underpowered or overpowered, not underpowered blob card relative to its cost. I don't agree with that. But so, but it's pretty good. Like the worst Machine Cult card was Junkyard. That makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The best Trade Federation card was Federation Battleship. That makes sense. Again, for its cost.
Yeah, that does make sense.
Anyway, it's a pretty good. It's a pretty good list. There were a few where there's some inconsistencies between my tier list and this one. And so I'm trying to find out, what their algorithm is to see if I'm wrong or how they calculated it. Because, for example, the War Mech that we just talked about, the one where you can put 2 bases on top,
right?
This deck has it rated pretty high. I think it's some here near the top. War Mech right there. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 7th best as far as power surplus. But
wow,
I had it at tier 2 card. So tier 2 is still pretty good.
Tier 2 is still pretty good, yeah.
I actually reached out to the person who created this and asked, like, were you assuming the War Mech was like hitting every time? Is that why it's so high? Like, I just was curious how they calculated it. But anyway, it's pretty interesting. I've asked for permission to publish to the Megahaulin blog. If they say yes, then I'll put it up on the Megahaulin blog, this list. But either way, it's on the Discord if people want to go look. It's in the strategy channel of Megahaulin.
I will definitely check it out.
So, or not of Megahaulin, of Discord.
On the Discord channel, yeah. So my immediate reaction to this is bringing all of the various aspects of gameplay down to a single number is very similar to the way that the statisticians in baseball use WAR as the catch-all. How good is this player overall, right?
Yeah.
And when you take a lot of things into effect, an aspect. Well, let me be very clear. Aspects of the game that players are directly able to influence, right? That's one of the things. Like, you can impact whether you get a hit. You can impact if you steal a base. You can't impact if a guy grounds into a double play. There's things you can and cannot control. Same thing for batters and fielders and for pitchers. And so bringing it down to a common number, I think, is a really good starting point. I would imagine that there is likely some similar tooling or algorithm on the Wise Wizard side from a game dev standpoint, because when we've talked about this before, I'm like, each of these abilities, damage, healing, give trade, faction to do something, scrap to do something, scrap another card to do something, all of those things have some value that goes into the card. And so converting it to damage is probably the cleanest. What I would like to know is, how do those things get converted? Like one trade, how much damage is that worth? Is that worth 0.25 damage? Is that worth 0.5 damage? Things like that. Like you're saying, the reverse engineering of that. And then once you have a common number that all cards can be compared against, now you can start talking about them and putting pressure on the rest of it. And so the estimates are kind of interesting. The cost differences, the power surge, the estimate must be using there's some canonical like reference that is the sort of the most balanced card. I wonder if there's is there one card that's like the resource that against all other cards are based, and then that one is like how we compare the pricing for the overall power versus the surplus and the estimates. I wonder, is there like a pure card here where the raw power
0?
Yeah.
So 0 means it's, according to this analysis, it's costed exactly right.
Okay, so let's look in here. So, and the interesting things is, let's see, what's the highest cost balance 0 card? Because you got a lot of onesies, and onesies are easy to control because it's like, onesie twosies is not that hard. I saw a couple 5s there.
So that's from Frontiers Imperial Flagship. Oh, interesting. That's the one that I think it does. I can't remember how much damage it does. It does. It draws 2 and then allies to make someone discard. and it does like 7 damage or 6 damage. I can't remember.
Right. Just
And
below
so,
that, you've got the prince there. So, maybe there were enough maybe there's a zero cost card, a zero differential card for every tier. In which case now you've got like your core to base everything. All one cost cards can be compared to this power, this raw power of zero costed cards. So I think it would be great to actually invite this person on to talk about their algorithm. But I like the way that they're breaking the game down here, because this can consistently apply. Now, here's the thing that I do wonder, and you know as well as I do, how there are old school baseball people who don't want to talk about those stats. They don't think they necessarily have value. And the truth is, as with most things, it's somewhere in the middle. Like you can't, you need to be making data informed decisions, not data driven decisions. Like that was bad nomenclature when people were saying that a few years ago. It's like, no, you don't, the data doesn't drive our decision. It informs our decision. Right.
Yeah.
And so these are guidances to give you approximate values. But what he's really doing here is, in my opinion, cataloging all these cards. What your tier list is doing is accounting not just for your gut, but also your direct experience trying to make these cards work in games that you've played. And this is where having a very, very high corpus of games makes a really big deal, because when you get up to like you get to Tatiana in 90,000 games, you've seen some things. You've seen some things a few times. You can start to get a feel for what type of game you're in more readily. And so you're making decisions and valuing the cards situationally. And so I feel that yours is also accounting for that volume of gameplay and how you've seen some of these cards just really have not panned out. So canonically or mathematically, these may be appropriate based on how the game is designed. But your tier list is a little bit more from the school of Hard Knocks, which is you don't necessarily have a math model exactly like this, but you're like, yeah, that card is cool, but it rarely pays off, and it probably is a sucker's play. And I think that's a little bit more practical advice for most people playing the game today.
Well put.
Yeah. Well put. Yeah. Check me out.
If I can just make one other comment about this. So someone may think, I don't know if anyone would, but maybe, the power surplus, that means some of these cards are worth more than their cost. It's good that they're not all zero. The game would be boring if like this was zero for every card. Maybe Arc's a little too high, 6, almost 7. So basically, yeah, the difference between the raw power and other cards at its cost is pretty high. But in general, it's good that there's a little bit of variance, that they're not all just zero. It costed exactly what they should be.
Yeah.
And they're all equal. Every 7-cost card is equally the same value. It's good that it's not that way, because it makes the game much more interesting. It makes you have to do your own evaluation. That's what enables skill to rise to the top. The people who are better able to evaluate cards in the situation. And so I like that there's a cutter that should be 3 or 4 costs. 4. I like that there's some cards like that. And there's in this new set, First Strike, there's a 5-cost blob base that I put tier 4 early game. Like, why would you ever buy this early game? It's not a good base. And it also has probably the worst 1-cost blob ship of all sets in the First Strike. It's just not good. But I like that there's cards like that. It's not just like every card's amazing. But there's going to be games, and that's what makes the game exciting, when that horrible ship is the right move and it wins you a game. And it's so exciting when stuff like that happens. And when you recognize the diamond in the rough in a game based on the situation, that's what makes this game really fun, and why I've played for 50,000 times already.
Yeah.
And keep going.
I agree with you. And the truth is that these values are not hard and fast. No. Like you said, they're not gospel. The values change based upon the situation of the game. And yes, Fleet HQ might be, 4 overcosted or 6 overcosted, whatever the final was. But there is a game where you're just draw happy, and Fleet HQ is a perfect way to finish your opponent off in the next deck. And being able to recognize that you cannot be blindly loyal to these. You need to be wise enough to react like you said and use your experience. And so we don't just blindly follow these things. But it's cool to see them like in a vacuum. Now, what really becomes interesting is how do you modify dynamically and situationally based on the game state? How do you know that one card is the right move versus another? And that's, like you said, that's where the skill really comes in. And again, that's why we keep playing. That's why we keep talking about this game. It's 122 episodes of Megahaulin. We've been talking about this. So pretty good stuff. Well, great. Well, those
one of my favorite.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was going to say one of my favorite moments. I think I mentioned this on a past cast, but when there was Brain World at Fleet HQ in the row, and I recognized that in that moment, Fleet HQ was better for my deck. And so I took Fleet HQ over Brain World. That's probably the only time I've ever done that, like made that choice. But it turned out to be the right choice. And I won the game, leaving Brain World in the row.
Yeah.
And buying Fleet HQ. So it can happen where Fleet HQ is the better card than Brain World.
Yeah, you would only know that if you played 50,000 games. Most people would not make that move, and then they would be like looking back on it. And the interesting thing is you also have to learn from your losses. And you go back and look, that's one of the reasons why watching replays is a good idea. You don't necessarily have the ability to rabbit hunt what would the next card have been or what would I potentially have always drawn, but you do have an idea of like what at what moment did my opponent buy something that I had the chance to buy and passed on that ended up costing me the game. That's the path. That level of study and really review of your own play is the kind of thing that leads you to the top tiers. I don't do that all that much more, which is exactly why I'm not a top tier player. But I have fun, and that's the main reason why I'm playing the game. So, well, very, very fun. Well, I think we hit it out of the park here on this episode 122 of Megahaulin. Just a reminder, please check out our blog, Megahaulin.com, as you can see it right there across the bottom of the screen, Megahaulin.com. That is our strategy blog. We are looking for new articles. Sounds like we might have a new article here for this new costing. I could see this maybe even being 2 or 3 articles, depending on how in depth we want to go. But if you've got a thought idea, and it doesn't need to be hard strategy. I think people get the wrong idea. They see some of that stuff up there, and I'm like, you can post some fun stuff too. If you've got just a cool cultural thing, if you've got a cool mod or home rules that you like to play with at home, we want to hear about it. So let us know. You can reach out to us on Facebook at Megahaulin A Star Realms Podcast, or you can always drop us an email, megahaulin@gmail.com. We always love getting fan mail. And we hope that you guys will reach out to us, engage with the blog, and tell us what you think. What is the most overcosted card in the game? Don't look at these references, or don't look at Rick's tier guide. What do you think is the most overpriced card or overcosted card? Drop it in the comments down below here on this video, or send it to us in an email, and we just might read your answer on the next cast. So I think that we're going to wrap it up here, Rick. We're going to try to get back on our regular schedule. I know we say that a lot, but Rick and I are busy folks. I've been many places this year, Rick. I've been to the Netherlands. I've been to Antarctica. I've been to Japan. I've been to the UK. I've been all over the places. And I know that you've been very, very busy as well, doing all kinds of dad stuff. Kids grow up very fast, and you want to make sure that you spend that time with them. Just tell me your kids are still happy to play Star Realms with you.
Oh, I wish I could.
Oh no!
They're out. They're growing. One of them does, but he's not home right now. He's off at college. So
okay, well, they're not playing Roblox, are they? They're playing at least another board game.
No, none of them have ever played that. Thankfully.
Yay, that's great. Speaking as somebody who makes their living in the game industry, I appreciate that your kids get to play board games, which you have a sizable collection of. So
look at that.
You got lots of options.
A third of it. You got a lot.
All right. Well, I think that'll do it here for us here at Megahaulin. Thank you guys. Please subscribe on YouTube to the Megahaulin channel, and we will keep streaming live here for you and letting you know all the latest and greatest in Star Realms goodness. So until next time, Keep scrapping those scouts. So long, everybody.
So long, go Cubs.